Hey, it's MK, and I am here with another Kit Conspiracy layout for you guys today. And today I am doing my final page for our for our shop. I have this title already picked out. I used the alphas from the navy thicker set, and then I also pulled out a tiny word sticker from one of the Tim Holtz books. So I've got my title already set up. I've got two photos of my husband with his truck in the shop, and I picked out a couple flare. I also have my wishing bubbles that I think I'm going to use some of the yellow pieces to bring in that continuity. And then I've got these frames that I thought was kind of cool because that was a big decision of where the windows were going to go. That took a couple days. And then I've got some scraps left over from the rest of the projects. I believe my 8.5 by 11 that I did on 9 by 12 I did on Sunday is where those scraps came from. I've got these tire laser cut pieces as well as some gear cut pieces, but not all of them. I have my little wooden truck from the June monthly box. And then these are the laser cuts, but like I said, I didn't use all of them. Just in case I needed to have another layout. And then I've got some tabs for each of my photos. Again, just sticking with continuity across the collection of layouts that I've got going on. So I'm going to go ahead and put everything back on my little tree ring tray that I have. I love this tray. It keeps everything handy for me. So I've got all that going on. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started on this paper. You guys, this is a super quick, super fast layout just because of the design of the paper. I didn't alter it at all because I figured if I altered one, then I'll keep the other one the way that it is, just to show you guys two different ways of using pre-designed papers. I'm not a big fan of pre-designed papers, but they do come in handy for super uber quick layouts. So I'm going to go ahead and trim the border around my photos a little skinnier. I don't really like that thicker border, but I haven't been able to figure out how to adjust it. So I'm okay with having them slightly smaller than a 4x6. I'm going to go ahead and take my X-Acto knife and cut along what looks like the tear in the paper to make it look like it was faux distressed, and stick my one paper behind the flashing that is on there, and then I'm going to stick my other paper in front of it, so then it looks like I have layers. But I didn't realize that the white painted dots, like the faux painted dots, were on both sides. So I didn't want that, so I went ahead and flipped over my paper so that way the dots weren't matchy-matchy. I'm going to do the exact same thing in the other corner, so I have a diagonal design going across. But once I get my main design in the center of the layout going, it doesn't really look like a diagonal design, but all in all, it kind of is. I like the fact that I can ruffle up the edges of my layers and give it a little bit of dimension. So I've got all of that done. See, look, my paper layers are already done. Didn't have to do very much. Like I said, for quick and fast, simple layouts, these are wonderful. They work really, really well. But if you want to disassemble them and do a little bit of paper piecing, then it works fine also. So I'm going to go ahead and put my photos. I didn't want them to be straight across the page. I wanted it, again, to give it that diagonal design. So I lifted one up just a little bit, and I'm going to do the exact same thing with the frames. And I'm going to fiddle with the frames just a little bit because of the fact that they are, I wanted some of them to be seen, and I didn't want the big pieces of the frames to be hidden behind other big pieces. I don't know. It's hard to explain. But I guess I just wanted the frames to be symmetrical in the openings. I don't know. So anyways, I'm using all of the windows on this one is because of the fact that we ordered 2 windows for this, and it took us about, if I can remember correctly, it took us about 2 weeks, 3 weeks to decide where those windows are going to go. And then the contractor forgot because I guess he didn't write it down. So when he asked again, it took us another week to make that. It's almost like it was a decision all over again. But we live on a corner street, And one of the things that my husband did not want is people peeking in our windows. And this was before we put up our fence around the whole yard. No, it's not, because I have pictures of the fence. I lied. So previously, before we put up our fence, we had people just coming into our yard. They would flip open his service truck handles to see if the truck was unlocked. It was a constant thing. And so that's why we built the shop as big as we did, because we wanted to be able to keep the truck in the shop and in safety, even though it was locked. So now it's double locked. But the last thing he wanted was the windows onto the outside of the road, so that way people can't peek in. And it's like, well, then put the windows higher, because then at least you get light, but then you could put them up higher and still, have that natural light, and nobody's that tall to peek in. And he's like, no, because then that'll give them a reason to, scuff up the side and try to, find something to climb it up. I mean, just all the things. I mean, like, he was thinking of every worst case scenario possible on why people would want to look through a window. So we decided to put both windows on the side where my, I think it's where my husband is standing, and you can't even see them, but they face into the backyard. So then that way he can open up the windows and hear the backyard and whatnot. We've got a big giant tree back there. Birds are living in it like crazy. And they chirp all year long, all that good stuff. So it was a good decision. It's just, it was crazy that, we thought about putting one on the front. We thought about putting them, on one on each side. We thought about putting 4 of them. And I mean, the more and more he was like, I don't even want windows. It was just nuts. So that's one of the reasons why I put a bunch of windows on this layout. But another thing is that my husband actually has an electric cord in his hand, because he is fixing the electricity. He's had to pretty much, other than the lighting up at the top, he's pretty much had to rewire the entire shop, because of the fact that the electrician, we don't know what he was thinking. We weren't there to babysit, but it was just nuts how the electrician just never checked his work. He rewired and then came in and then never checked his work. So like I said, we're really good friends with our contractor, and it seemed like he had to rehire an electrician on the fly. And so it's not something that we were upset about, because obviously my husband can do it himself. We just choose not to, because who wants to go home to go to work, right? So yeah, it was just one of those things, but it worked out in the end. There's still a few things that he needs to fix, but yeah. Anyways, that is my very brief layout of this forever ending or never ending shop build. So again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it. Be sure to check out Janet Fritz's channel, who is Galaxy Girl Creations, here on YouTube. She is my partner in crime when it comes to Kit Conspiracy. And yeah, I will check you guys all tomorrow. Bye.